Who's this Dekiru, and why do all the pros want to adopt him? By 80sGayTrashGoblin. Chapter 11. Nedzu's Tea Time. Izuku was nervous, running a brush in his hair one last time. He was wearing the best outfit he had, which was a dark leather jacket that used to be his father's before he left, a t-shirt that said bow tie, and dark jeans. He wore his usual high tops because he was attached and definitely not because they were his only pair, and he was desperately trying to tame his hair, even though he knew it would be no use. He had one of his messenger bags over his shoulder, the one with a fuck ton of hero pins that he hoped could pass off as respectful homage rather than fanboy. Keigo, the lucky bastard, could get away with just wearing his hero costume for the meeting. "You good, Izuku?" he asked from the living room. "You've been in the bathroom for like 20 minutes. Izuku groaned, abandoning the brush and double-checking he had everything. The analysis for Snipe, his laptop, that's about it. Coming out of the bathroom, he frowned as he saw Keigo fluttering around the kitchen table, with plates that had black crusty things on them. What the fuck are those?" Izuku asked, pointing at the lumps of coal. The Birdman had the audacity to look sheepish next to his hideous creations. "I tried to make breakfast." "That's a monstrosity is what it is," Izuku said, picking up the plates and dumping breakfast into the trash despite Keigo squawking. "We'll pick up breakfast on the way there." "You don't know how to cook either, do you?" Keigo asked accusingly. Izuku scoffed, adjusting the bag on his shoulders. "I do. I'm just lazy. Besides, if we don't leave now, we're going to be late." Keigo swore, and Izuku laughed at him. Closing and locking the door behind them, he pulled out the 2 Pop-Tart packets he had in his jacket pocket, handing one of them to the hero. "Get on my back," Keigo said, while ripping open the Pop-Tart bag and shoving one into his face. Izuku beamed, jumping onto his bag as the hero stumbled over. "Golly, kid, you're heavy." "Fly, my pretty," Izuku cackled, shoving a Pop-Tart into his face. Keigo squawked through his mouthful of breakfast, jumping up into the air as soon as they were outside. 10 out of 10, easily the best Uber he's had in a while. To say that Keigo was nervous was an understatement. No, he was sweating bullets as he sat in front of Nedzu, his feathers twitching as he felt the mammal take him apart with his gaze. But really, anyone would be nervous in his position. He was facing down the smartest creature alive. "Would you like some tea?" Nedzu asked, pouring into 2 teacups. "Peppermint tea is very good for nerves." "Of course, I would love some." His wings twitched as he took the cup from the mammal's paws, taking a careful sip as if it might hurt him. The hero wouldn't put it past him. It was clean and delicious, though that might be just the mind games. Damn mouse. "It's not often we get a top hero asking for a position," Nedzu talked carefully, and it felt like every word the mammal was slowly peeling him apart like an onion. "Normally, we wouldn't be available for a new hire, but there are circumstances that may require a second heroic teacher assistant." "Oh?" Keigo asked conversationally, trying to keep his wings from twitching. The only reason he was able to sit down at all and maintain some composure was that the principal had brought out a stool for him. Otherwise, he would be anxiously pacing, which would be very bad for the whole staying composed thing. But I'm getting ahead of myself," Nedzu took a sip of his tea. "Let's start with this. What are your teaching qualifications? Other than being a hero. We both know that what makes a good hero and a good teacher are different." Keigo cleared his throat, reciting the little speech he whipped up and memorized last night. I'm currently working on getting my Bachelor's of Education online, which I understand won't get me to the next school year, but it should give me experience to at least be a teacher's assistant until I finish my degree in a few years and get my license.
Of course. You'll find we are very flexible when it comes to licenses, since rogues teachers are in demand, especially good ones.
Nedzu took another sip of tea.
How do you intend to balance your hero work, and teaching work?
This was another point Keigo had planned out. I'm handing over primary control of my agency to Fukuoka to Phoenix, and I'm opening a new branch in Mustafa that will be in primary control of Coralax. I'll be in touch with both of them, and I'll carry out patrols after school and grading when I have the time. But it will put on the... I'll be in touch with both of them, and I'll carry out patrols after school and grading when I have the time. But it will be put on the back burner to my teaching duties. The mammal calmly sipped his tea.
Why are you considering teaching?
The underlying question was, why are you considering teaching now? Keigo sighed. He tossed and turned last night. He knew that he was going to be asked that. He agonized over what he was going to say, but he landed on the decision that he knew was going to have consequences. I'll be completely honest with you. Those 6 words alone had the mammal putting it down his cup, tilting his head in interest. The HPSC pushed for me to get a teaching position. They knew about all my acquiring his position, but I'm less offering my skills as a teacher and more my position as an insider.
Interesting. But how do I know that you're not being transparent just to get in and siphon information back to the commission?
Keigo smiled. He prepared for that question. I have information that could potentially bring the commission down if it came to light.
Oh.
Let me tell you a story.
Excuse me, y'all. I need to hydrate real quick.
Izuku waved sheepishly as Keigo closed the large door behind him. He sighed, looking around, and let his feet carry him as he explored UA. Classes were still in session, so he didn't meet any students in the hallways. He admired the scenery outside the massive glass windows, and the pictures of various alumni or student projects, in the case of modern art history classroom. Eventually, he found that he had wandered to the teacher's lounge. He briefly debated going on in, but came to the conclusion that he didn't care enough. Ever since yesterday and being left alone on the roof, Izuku found that he was simply out of fucks to give. It doesn't help that he's had a pulsing headache for the past 3 days. He slowly opened the door and peeked inside. He still had manners, thank you very much. Aizawa-san, because yeah, he had first name approval, but it felt weird to use still. And Vlad King were standing next to each other at desks, presumably doing paperwork, while Power Loader was doing his paperwork in a desk a row across from them. Kayama-san, Snipe, and Lunch Rush were standing around the coffee maker and chatting. Aizawa looked up first, being the underground pro, and just grunted in acknowledgement at Izuku's presence before going back to his paperwork. Vlad King didn't even look up, presumably just trusting Aizawa, and Power Loader looked up. His entrance didn't even disturb the conversation happening around the coffee maker, which, from the sound of it, was a very heated argument about student shipping. He wasn't going to touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Excuse me,
who are you? Power Loader asked, bringing the attention of Vlad King and the heroes around the coffee maker. Of course, Kayama-san just squealed.
Broccoli-chan!
She ran over and pulled him into a hug. Izuku flushed bright red as he felt his face squished against her chest.
It's so good to see you again. I didn't expect you to be here so soon. Yeah, Keigo's meeting with Nedzu right now.
He pulled back out of the hug, so the heroine slung an arm over his shoulder and dragged him to the other heroes. Broccoli-chan? Lunchrush asked. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw a power loader coming over, too. Oh! Izuku threw open his bag, pulling out the green folder and holding it out to Snipe.
This is yours. I know I could have sent it over the HN, but I figured I could hand it to you directly since I came to UA in person.
Wait. Snipe opened the folder, flipping through the pages. You're Dekiru? Oh, Kami, it's true, Glad King muttered.
I thought that rat was pulling our leg,
Power Loader shouted.
Yeah, I am.
Izuku scratched the back of his head nervously.
I didn't tell anyone my age, obviously. I didn't want them to discount my credibility. I thought we already told you this. It obviously just makes you more impressive,
Kayama-san exclaimed.
No, you didn't,
Izuku said, adjusting the strap of his bag.
You all sent me your names, then told me Miruko that I was also Broccoli-chan, and then I had to go back to work to let Keigo sleep.
Wait a minute, you're on first-name basis with Hawks? Glad King asked.
I mean, he is moving into my apartment,
Izuku deadpan, then shrugged.
Besides, Sushi likes him. Kayama-san gasped. Do you have more sushi pics?
Izuku smiled sheepishly, pulling out his phone and opening it up to the gallery, letting the heroine scroll through his folder of sushi pics and show the other heroes. This is very impressive, kid, Snipe muttered. Your reputation holds up. He dug around his costume's pockets, eventually pulling out his phone. I'll send the money right over. Izuku nodded a quick thanks, then snatched his phone back.
I can send more sushi pics in the group chat,
he said, stuffing it back into his pockets. So I'm presuming you want to go to UA if you're here, Lunchrush started, and continued at Izuku's small nod. Which course are you planning on going into?
I used to really want to be a hero when I was small, but it's pretty much unattainable for me now.
Izuku shrugged sadly, to the confusion of most of the heroes and the small and sad nod of Kayama-san.
So, I'm going into the analyst business. Use your greatest strength, you know?
Support course, then, Power Loader sighed.
Which means I'll probably be your homeroom teacher. The analysis track is in the support course?
Izuku asked.
I thought it would be in management.
No, apparently not. Power Loader shook his head. Honestly, I forgot we even have that track. There hasn't been anyone in it for years. Which means you'll most likely be the only student. Which means you'll probably be Nedzu's only student. Glad King trailed off, and the room collectively shuddered. Izuku gave his most innocent smile, which didn't seem to reassure the room.
It's okay. I won't take over the world, he said cheerfully. Even I know my limits.
There's a difference between your limits and the power of Nedzu, Glad King pointed out.
I think you guys are overestimating me. I'm not that bad,
Izuku said. Don't believe him. The door was slammed open, and everyone watched as Keigo slammed into the door frame. Ow, ow, ow! Don't believe him. He really is. I caught him trying to train the raccoons last night.
Hey, you'll be thanking me when the 3rd Raccoon Battalion saves your ass,
Izuku sniped back, then blinked when he realized where he was when he just swore. Keigo was getting himself back onto his feet, and Nedzu was standing next to him in the doorway.
Hello, Dekiru,
Nedzu exclaimed, bouncing over to him.
Am I a mouse? A bear? A dog? I am Nedzu, the principal of UA. Actually, you look more like an albino stow,
Izuku said. The room went deadly quiet, then Nedzu started laughing.
Notoria Izuku, next year is going to be really fun.
Chapter 12 Katsudan in Conversations. Izuku was flying on Cloud 9. He's collected a bunch of signatures from pro heroes. He's still a fanboy, sue him. Got a personal tour of UA, and he's currently being treated to Lunch Rush's Katsudan.
That's it,
Izuku mumbled through bites of food.
Lunch Rush is my favorite.
What the hell? Keigo squawked. They were both sitting in a small room off of the school's kitchen, basically the cafeteria, but for the teachers. Keigo was eating some yakitori. Cannibal. Which was also made by Lunch Rush.
I mean, you're cool too, but this Katsudan is literal heaven.
I saved your life.
But this Katsudan.
Keigo groaned, and Izuku let himself cackle as he continued shoving Katsudan into his face. It wasn't the most attractive sight, but sue him. He was hungry.
I'm sure that Shigaka will be happy to hear that,
an elderly lady said from behind him. Izuku turned around, his eyes going wide.
Recovery girl!
He exclaimed, his eyes practically sparkling.
The youthful heroine!
She smiled slyly.
Well, it's not every day the youngins recognize me. I've heard a lot about you.
Izuku flushed with a squeak.
How? I got to witness the younger members of the UA staff freak out when Nedzu announced that you could be a student here.
What? Keigo stopped bothering to hide his laughter by now, doubling over. Izuku flushed, smacking him while even Recovery Girl started chuckling.
Why are you so mean?
Izuku whined, slowly slumping further down into his seat. That just made Keigo laugh harder. After the laughter tapered out, Recovery Girl came over.
Anyways, Namiri, Hisashi, and Shota wanted me to check up on you, based on something you sent them last night.
Izuku raised an eyebrow in confusion.
I don't think I sent a concerning text in the group chat.
Keigo looked at him weirdly. Do you not remember the text you sent? After I went back to bed after being assaulted by your raccoon army?
No?
Check the group chat. UA Teachers and Company, 3:17 a.m.
Dekiru-chan. I feel like shit and my head hurts. And I'm texting up the analysis for Gang Gorka. Honestly, I'm gonna fucking give snipes to him in person. I'm so fucking tired. I need coffee. My god. Pink Panther. Dekiru? Oh yeah, I can see how that would be concerning.
Izuku muttered, scratching his head.
I was wondering why Gang Worker's analysis wasn't finished this morning. What's this about headaches, dearie? Oh, I've had on and off headaches the past few weeks, Izuku said. They usually appear about an hour after I start working on analysis on my computer, and they usually don't go away until I go to bed and wake up the next morning. It sounds like a case of computer vision syndrome.
Recovery hummed, thumping her cane on the ground.
All those screens give you a headache. Just stop using as many screens and you'll be fine.
Your other option is a pair of blue light glasses.
Keigo spoke up. I know some of the interns and sidekicks at the area use them. Yeah, I can't really stop using screens, Izuku muttered. I use the Hero Network to deliver my analyses. Well, I do have to go to the area tomorrow to get some paperwork. Keigo spoke through a mouthful of food. We can get you a pair while we're out. Ow! Don't talk with your mouth full, Recovery Girl scolded after smacking him with her cane. Izuku almost choked on his lunch. Izuku sighed, flopping face first onto the couch. He was excited this morning, so he skipped his morning coffee, but now at 2 in the afternoon he was drained. He could hear Sushi snoring right next to his head, and he was honestly about to join her. Hey, Izuku, Keigo said from somewhere in the apartment. Izuku just grumbled in response. A red feather tickled his nose and he sneezed. I know you want to take a nap, but we've got to talk first. Izuku groaned but sat up and leaned back on Keigo when he finally sat down on the couch. What do we need to talk about? Keigo made a clicking sound with his tongue absent-mindedly. We need to talk about yesterday. But I thought we were done talking about yesterday. Izuku whined, letting himself flop onto Keigo, getting an oof out of the man. I know, kiddo. Keigo sighed. But we really should talk about it. Izuku grumbled, looking up at Keigo properly with a glare. Apparently it didn't even register as a glare because the Birdman snorts. So what are we talking about? Keigo thoughtfully clicked again, wrapping an arm around Izuku's shoulder. The bullying. That sobered Izuku up real quickly. He was about to get up, but Keigo's arm kept him from moving too much. The hero's other hand was in his hair, giving him a gentle head massage. What about it? Izuku asked. We want some names, Keigo said. Izuku raised an eyebrow. Rumi suggested to just start burning down middle schools until we hit the right one, but I figured that it would be better if we just heard it from you. Miruko, Keigo, that's just arson, Izuku sputtered. Besides, it's not worth it. What do you mean, not worth it? I mean... He took a moment to collect his thoughts. I'm not going to school in person anymore. I should just focus on my future rather than waste energy on the past, you know? If it's weighing on you enough to almost lead you to commit suicide. It's not just in the past, Keigo deadpanned. The closure would be good for you. Besides, the heroes would be mostly taking care of it. Alright. Izuku shrugged. I went to Aldera Elementary, then Aldera Middle School. What about the names of the bullies? He just shook his head. They're kids. The only ones who would go so far as to physically hurt me and use their quirks were mostly the upperclassmen, and I never knew any of their names. The words and flowers aren't harmless either, Keigo pointed out. And there's only so long that they're kids is a good enough excuse. It's mostly the teachers, though, Izuku argued. No one would ever step in. Some would even encourage it. The nurses would refuse to treat me, and the one time I reported when I got beat up to the principal, he put a mark of fighting on my record instead. I just think that they deserve a second chance, you know? Including Bakugo? Keigo asked with a raised eyebrow. Including Bakugo. He's always wanted to be a hero, and he'll make a good one if someone helped him pull the stick out of his ass. They both laughed, startling Sushi, who was sitting in Keigo's lap. After they settled down, Izuku spoke up again. I'm not saying there shouldn't be consequences, Just that he should have a second chance. And if he doesn't improve, even with the second chance, that's on him, Keigo said firmly. Izuku's only response was a nod. He was starting to drift off. Keigo's fingers on his scalp did wonders. Alright, I'll let you sleep, Keigo said, adjusting them so that Keigo was laying on his side, wings over the side of the couch, and Izuku was laying on top of him. Izuku sighed in contentment. Wake me up for dinner. Of course, fledgling. Chapter 13. Grief. Izuku was woken up by the smell of fast food katsudon. His mom buys katsudon from the place down the road when she wants to get him a treat, but didn't have the time to make it herself. He rolled off of the couch with a dull thud. Hey, Mom, he said, rubbing his eyes. Then he froze as he saw Keigo standing in the kitchen. That's right, his mom was gone. She would never make him katsudon ever again. They would never laugh over cartoons on the rare Sunday morning she didn't have to work. They would never go to the mall again, where he would excitedly drag his mom from hero store to hero store, while she patiently listened to him. He wouldn't even be able to go visit her in the hospital, where they would have long winding talks about anything and everything until he had to go to work. She really was gone. Fledgling? Keigo asked. And when did he move to stand in front of Izuku? What's wrong? I'm not hungry, he said quickly, fleeing to his bedroom. He's pretty sure the door plate fell to the ground from how hard he slammed his door. His lungs burned as he gasped for breath like a drowning man, sliding down to sit next to the door. He was shaking as a weight pressed down on his chest, his head filling with fog. He hasn't been in his bedroom since yesterday, having fallen asleep on the couch while working. The stairs of All Might plaster on every poster, bobblehead, pillow burned his skin, silently mocking him for thinking he was allowed to have anything. Burden. Quirkless. Pathetic. You killed her. Burden. Quirkless freak. Sniveling coward. You killed her. Burden. Quirkless scum. Take a swan dive off the roof and hope for a quirk in your next life. You killed her. Kid. Fledge. To me. The words were choppy as red filled his vision. Need you. Breathe. The pattern was being tapped onto the back of his hand. He tried to follow in stuttering breaths. In and out. In and out. In and out. Eventually, the weight of his chest let up enough so that he could finally breathe. Awareness trickled back to him slowly. He was sitting with his back to the wall next to his door, his knees tucked to his chest. His face was tear-stained. You could already feel his eyes getting puffy. One hand was clutching his chest while the other was being held by Keigo, who was kneeling in front of him. His wings were spread out around him, blocking Izuku's view of the room. Back with me, fledgling? The hero asked, still rubbing gentle circles into the back of his hand. Izuku nodded shakily. Can you tell me what happened? My mom, he stuttered out. She always got katsudon from the same place after work. And then she's not here. And then I came in and all I could see was All Might and I could hear the voices calling me a burden, quirkless freak, pathetic coward. Izuku. Keigo's voice cut through, and he grabbed Izuku's hands, pulling them to his lap and away from the hair they were pulling. I'm fine, Izuku responded instinctively. Keigo sighed, then picked up Izuku like he was a couple of grapes.
his wings continuing to block Izuku's view until they made it to the living room. He was dumped onto the couch and Sushi climbed onto his lap with a needy meow. Alright, I was gonna wait a few days until everything was more settled, but I think we need to talk about it now, Keigo said somberly, sitting down next to him on the couch. We'll have to talk about your mom's funeral. Izuku sucked in a breath, petting the purring bundle on his lap as he nodded for Keigo to continue. We'll have to read her will and decide where it's actually happening. You don't have to worry about money. Me and the other heroes can pay for it. You want to do it sooner or later? Sooner. Izuku rasped out, his throat kinda dry. Okay, Keigo said. In your room, we should redecorate. Take down all the, All Might. Izuku nodded. I don't think I can go in there right now. That's fine, Keigo responded quickly, looking over to his phone. I'll take down and put away the All Might stuff. You stay here with Sushi and eat dinner. He nodded blankly and Keigo got up, putting the takeout containers in his hand. He also got his laptop put on his lap, Sushi moving to curl up next to his side. Why don't you do some online shopping while you eat? Keigo asked. Izuku gave the man a small smile, which Keigo visibly brightened at. The hero gave him a small thumbs up, then went into Izuku's room. He pulled one of his mom's crocheted blankets over his shoulders, starting to dig into the food. It was surprisingly warm, and he started to devour it, not realizing how hungry he was. He opened the HN on his laptop to check on the others. UA Teachers and Company, 6:29 p.m. Falcon. Help. Izuku's having a panic attack. I don't know what to do. Eraserdad. Do you know what triggered it? Falcon. No. He just woke up, said, "Hey Mom," then went into his room. He slammed the door, but I can't hear him hyperventilating in there. Eraserdad. Okay, well, go see him. Try and get his attention. Don't touch him at first. If he doesn't come around after a minute, gently grab one of his hands and tap a breathing pattern on the back of his hand. Silver the Hedgehog. Use your wings to block off any other potential triggers. Anya Amasova. But also, don't put your wings too close to him. You don't want him to be claustrophobic. Falcon. Alright, thanks. Okay, he's back from the panic attack. His triggers seem to be the All Might posters in his room and the smell of Katsudon reminding him of his mom. Anya Amasova. So he's starting to grieve. Jack Bugs Bunny. Room makeover. Anya Amasova. Try to help through his grief, like helping him arrange the funeral. Eraserdad. Just stick by him. Silver the Hedgehog. And we'll all help him with the funds. Falcon. I'll let him know. I'm working on pulling down the All Might stuff in his room right now. Anya Amasova. What a hospital. We can just put it all on Nedzu's tab. God. I would happily pay any expenses. Dekiru-chan. It's Mustafa General. Jack Bugs Bunny. Broccoli-chan. Anya Amasova. Dekiru-chan. Silver the Hedgehog. Izuku. Eraserdad. Are you okay? Dekiru-chan. I'm okay. Silver the Hedgehog. We'll be here for you. You don't have to grieve alone. Dekiru-chan. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna go shopping online for my room makeover. Silver the Hedgehog. Have fun. Anya Amasova.
Get some fluffy things. Jack Bugs Bunny. Make sure you eat dinner. Dekiru-chan. I will. Smiley face. Keigo rolled up the last All Might poster, gently putting it back into its roll. As much as he desired to take the merch and torch it all, a lot of this merch was stupid expensive and pretty old. The kid could probably make a fortune selling it all online, if that's what he wanted. He kept the original boxes and everything. He looked around the room, trying to get a sense of things. The walls were completely bare, with one corkboard above his desk covered in notes, and painted a nice light gray. The shelves only had a few succulents. The desk had one Ingenium bobblehead on it, and the bedding was replaced with neutral dark gray pillowcases and comforters that he found in the closet. The bookshelves were still filled, since there wasn't any merch on them. On a side note, Keigo was mentally filling those plans to get Izuku to a therapist. He opened the door, placing the All Might nameplate onto Izuku's desk, before stepping out. He could see the kid had finished his katsudon, placing his empty takeout container onto his coffee table, and was currently browsing through whiteboards. Keigo grabbed his chicken teriyaki, wrinkling his nose as he bites into it, and it turns out to be cold. He keeps eating it anyways, plopping down onto the couch next to Izuku. What you got so far, fledgling? I got a cat tower for sushi, Izuku mumbled, still scrolling through whiteboards. I also got more plants, and some merch for other heroes. That's a good selection, Keigo said, reaching out a wing to wrap up the kid in while sending a feather to get the TV remote. You mind if I put on something while I eat? Kids hummed, so Keigo turned on some bird documentary, watching Izuku slowly relax more and more into his side. He sent a couple of feathers to throw out the takeout container and wooden chopsticks, letting the kid cuddle up to him. Izuku muttered next to him as he debated the different prices of whiteboards and calendars, checking sales between different sites. Keigo smiled to himself. The kid's strong. He'll be okay. Alright, y'all. I hope you guys enjoyed. Just like before, with group chats and stuff like that, I'm gonna be putting the list in the description down below of who's who. And I really hope you guys enjoyed and that you have a wonderful day. If you like the content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all next time. Ciao for now.